The second and more than likely final season of The Punisher is hit on Netflix, and it's a lot more stripped down with all the vicious action you'd expect from Frank Castle, while also managing to be less complicated than the first season. If you don't have time to dedicate to 13-hour-long episodes, or you just want a quick roundup of everything you've seen, you've come to the right place. What's up guys, Chris Killian here with a recap to the rescue as I break down the highlights of the second season of The Punisher. Now this should go without saying, but warning ahead for those of you avoiding spoilers, this video is not meant for you. The second season of The Punisher begins with Frank Castle living life as a bit of a vagabond, making a stop at a bar in Michigan to listen to some live music. He catches the attention of Beth, the bartender, and the two hook up. The next night, things go awry when Frank gets caught in the middle of a bunch of specially trained thugs trying to kill a mysterious girl named Amy, cause why wouldn't he? Leading to one of the coolest bar fights this side of Roadhouse. We also meet the first bad guy of the season, John Pilgrim, a violent alt-right Christian fundamentalist. While this isn't a name you'd recognize from the comics, he is heavily based off of the Mennonite. He's the guy behind trying to kill Amy. Frank takes it upon himself to protect Amy as she becomes somewhat of a surrogate daughter to him over the course of the season. Once they get away, she helps remove a slug from Frank's butt. A slug is a bullet, not an actual slug, that would be gross. Meanwhile, Billy Russo attends therapy regularly with Dr. Krista Dumont while his jilted former lover Agent Madani visits every day. Turns out Billy has amnesia and can't remember anything, including the Punisher ripping his face to shreds. Thanks to plastic surgery, Billy's face isn't actually all that messed up. Nothing compared to Jigsaw and Punisher Warzone. Frank and Amy eventually land in a small county jail, and Pilgrim's people attack the jail a la Assault on Precinct 13 in an effort to get to them, but the locals, mainly with Frank's help, hold them off. Agent Madani catches wind of this and helicopters down to help Frank, who brings Amy back to New York with him. Madani informs Frank that Billy is awake and oh yeah, he's escaped from the hospital. You'd think that Frank might use this as an opportunity to track down his old pal Micro, but he doesn't, and Microchip doesn't show up at all this season. He does, however, enlist the help of his vet buddy Curtis. So here's the main arc of the season. Frank and Amy trying to figure out who's controlling John Pilgrim while trying to hide from him, and Billy trying to connect the dots of everything that happened to him, thanks to his therapist who's now sleeping with him and it turns out is quite crazy herself. Billy puts together a team of mercenaries and they start planning robberies. This eventually leads to Frank tracking down Billy dressed as the Punisher, and the skull insignia on his vest jogs Billy's memory. Big shootout, but both Billy and Frank get away. We learn that Pilgrim's boss is Anderson Schultz, who's not happy that Pilgrim hasn't found Amy yet, so his men beat the crap out of him. Later, Frank gets caught in an ambush led by Billy, and they very nearly kill him. Thankfully, not before Frank basically murderizes everyone but Billy until SWAT arrest him. In the hospital, Frank gets a visit from a familiar face acting as his attorney, Karen Page. Frank breaks out of the hospital but gets stopped by Sergeant Brett Mahoney, who keeps showing up at the most inopportune times, obsessed with arresting Frank. However, Pilgrim attacks their ambulance, inadvertently allowing Frank to escape. Everything reaches a boiling point. Madani throws Krista out of a third-story window. In a rage, Billy tries to strangle Madani. But in the first season, she survived Billy shooting her in the head, and somehow she survives this too. In the process, she shoots Billy, who tries to get a shady doctor to remove the bullets, but he leaves Billy in a dumpster instead. Then Punisher kills Pilgrim and saves Amy. Billy heads to Curtis's vet class for help, but Punisher kills him while he's in the middle of an apology. Then Punisher kills Eliza Schultz, but allows Anderson Schultz to kill himself. That pretty much sums up the second season of The Punisher. Let me know what you thought in the comments or tweet me at Chris Killian, and thanks for watching.